Wallace. Veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the Believe Network, and this podcast is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been on here, so I almost flummoxed there for a little bit. So, shout out to Cone for picking up the slack of everybody not being able to pod on Friday, rocking the solo pod. First solo pod we've had on Top of Thunder Podcast in quite some time, by the way. So, shout out to you, Cone. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Feeling good, actually. Feeling great. I don't know if I've been this confident. I mean, I guess like I've been confident all season that this is the best team in the league, but I feel pretty good like that this is clearly the best team in the league if they can get healthy. Obviously, that's the issue, but I mean, hey, man, great back-to-back wins and then not losing by very much against a team that has the best record in the NBA now. It feels good. And, AJ and Shea come back next game, hopefully, most likely, probably.
Yeah, that is the hope. That's our expectations. And, also, our expectation is our co-host, our compadre, our compatriot, Alejandro, being on the pod. What up, Alex?
What up, mate? I see you tried to set something up there and it just didn't work out.
Well, I tried to look at you, but I couldn't see anything, so it just like everything went out of my head.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I also am very confident now as far as what I'm seeing from this team, what I'm seeing from, as Shaq and as Charles Barkley would like to say, the others on the team. And it's just sparking a little bit of confidence in me as far as like when these guys come back healthy, like we're going to have such a stacked team and it's going to be very difficult for somebody to knock us out in 7 games.
Yeah, no, for real. Absolutely. And guys, I mean, I'm not going to waste any time. I mean, let's go ahead and get into it. We've played 4 games now since All-Star break. Cone covered the Nets game exclusively, but in these last 3 games, I've been very encouraged. Like, we've played quality opponents in the East. We played the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were one of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors, who are one of the best defenses in the NBA and are like, when they're healthy, oh God, my light is just twitching. That's crazy. Whenever they're healthy, like they are a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, I did too. Trust me. And then of course tonight, the Detroit Pistons, best team in the NBA. All right, cool. My light's just gonna go off. I'm gonna be blue light now, guys.
Hey, just come into the dark side like I am, man.
we got all the different shades tonight. But yeah, 3 formidable opponents in the Eastern Conference, and to win 2 of those and to be like right there on the precipice of the last one, with, dare I say, like the most challenging of circumstances of the 3, like, you got to be pretty thrilled. But like, talking about all 3 of these games, like I'm just going to go ahead and tee this off because I think that it is the story of these 3 games.
Brooks Barnheimer.
And no, I'm just going to tee it up. I think like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, Nikola Jokic was out for the Denver Nuggets, right? Jamal Murray playing like an all-star, had been playing like an all-star, and guys have been picking up on the fringes, but that was not the story of the Denver Nuggets. The story of the Denver Nuggets was the ascension of Peyton Watson and what he was able to do off the bounce, shooting threes, like a completely different player than we've seen over the past couple of years. And like me, a Thunder fan, obviously the Nuggets are a team that took us to 7 last year. There's many caveats on both sides, whatever. They are still one of our biggest competitions in the Western Conference if we're going to meet them in the playoffs. I'm like, man, it really sucks they have somebody stepping up there. Somebody that's stepping up in such a huge way for the Nuggets. Once Jokic gets back, that's going to be scary. Guys, we have our Peyton Watson stretch happening right now in Cason Wallace. What he has been able to do against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Toronto Raptors, and now the Detroit Pistons has been nothing short of remarkable. Cohen, I know you're a stats guy. I figure you probably have this compiled. Do you know what his averages are in these last 3 games?
The last 3 games, yes, I actually do have that. Hold on, I got to pull the actually was just looking at it. Let me pull the tab back up. we
Off the
have.
dome, I'm pretty sure it's like 23 points.
Yeah, it's just about that. It is 23.3 points, 4.7 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 1.7 steals, shooting 54% from the field, 58% from three, and 83% from the line is the numbers. And just some other quick Cason Wallace stats while we're on it. ESPN, I think, like saw a tweet that I made because they literally read it off like word for word on the broadcast. It was the one about how Cason coming into this month had 2 20-plus point games in his entire career. And in the month of February coming into tonight, he had 4, and today makes 5. So he has went from 2 to 7 20-plus point games in the span of 11 games here in the month of February. Like, it's a shorter month because of the All-Star break too, and obviously only 28 days. We've only been through 25 of them. Like, it's crazy. And over, coming into tonight, he was averaging right around like 15 points per game in the month of February, like right around 45, 46, I think, percent from the field, like around 6 assists, 1.8 steals, just crazy stuff from Queso.
Yeah, and the big thing, obviously he had 23 tonight. I think he had 27 against the Raptors. He had 26 against the Cavs.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was 26. Hold on, I gotta.
I'm looking here. It was 20. It was 20.
I was 20. Okay.
Yeah, I embellished a little bit. But against the Cavs, he had 10 assists. He had 10 assists against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and obviously, it wasn't as. I would say it didn't stand out as much tonight, just because. We got contributions from other guys offensively. But the Raptors game is the one that stood out to me the most, because that was the most, I ain't never seen you act like this before a game that I've seen from Cason Wallace. Obviously, he's kind of been more of a slasher in his time in OKC. And I feel like that's how he has benefited and been able to, score in this offense. But against the Raptors and, even bleeding into the Pistons game, he was aggressive at getting downhill. He was taking dudes off the dribble. That snatchback 3-pointer, dare I say, that was quicker and smoother than some of Shea's snatchback threes, in his early session.
Twitchy, man. It was twitchy.
It was so effortless. And he's shooting the 3-pointer with so much confidence. That bled into tonight as well. But the play that impressed me the most was late in the game. Obviously, the Thunder got to a huge lead. I think it was 24-point lead or something like that. Or no, 25. I think that was the Cavs. Oh, okay. It was 25. Okay, cool. So Thunder got up to a 25-point lead. And then, of course, the offense just absolutely died. And the Raptors brought it all the way back to tie the game. And, Cason Wallace, he got, I think he drove to the lane, got a bucket, stole the ball, kicked it out to Isaiah Joe, got another bucket. It was the next bucket, though, that I want to talk about, because takes the screen, gets Scotty Barnes switched on him, a guy that is 6 foot inches, 7 foot inches taller than Cason Wallace, a guy that is in the running for a all defensive team, NBA All-Star in his own right, was giving Chet fits defensively all game long. Cason Wallace drove him with his offhand, his left hand, finished high off glass through contact on Scotty Barnes with 1.5 minutes left in the game to put the team up, I think, 7 points at that point. And that was just mind blowing to me. That is so huge for a guy like Cason Wallace to finish for us. We already had a really high ceiling as a team, but if Cason's playing like that, the ceiling is the roof. I don't know what to say. Shout out Michael Jordan.
Yeah, in that game, so that moment that you're talking about, the team was actually looking at him to make that play. It wasn't this was, hey, let's decide by committee to see who's gonna, finish this game out, close this game out. I think there was a shift in that game, and maybe even a shift over the last couple of games, where it's with these 3 guys being out, with Shea being out, AJ, Dub being out, the guy that has taken the reins and said, hey, if we get into a close game, give me the ball. I'm going to go ahead and dribble drive. I'm going to go ahead and do the playmaking. I'm going to go ahead and do what I need to do. That's been Cason. And it's probably scary for the league to have, to look at this and be like, crap. The Thunder got another guy that's going to be going out there, not just defensively, but also on the offensive end, can create, can take over a game at the end of a game, can play and can play and do things against a team defensively that is at the top of the league. Like the Raptors are one of the best defensive teams in the league. And even tonight against the Pistons are number 2 in everything defense as compared to us, but they're the number 2 team in the league. And he was doing that today also. He unfortunately didn't win. There were some situations as far as like no big men. We didn't have Hart, we didn't have Chet. Caruso was out, but his ability to handle the ball now, which was a weakness earlier this season, has been pretty amazing to see. That development and that exponential growth that we've seen has been pretty amazing to see. And it just goes to show you that like Oklahoma City's penchant for developing talent while also contending and winning games is something that not a lot of teams have the luxury of having. And so with these guys being still so young, being still so malleable, to learn things and to go out there and try things, it's something that not only helps you for the present, but it totally helps you for the future.
Yeah, I mean, you see the play here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, the offhand lay, the snatchback three, attacking Colin Murray-Boyles multiple times off the dribble drive, which CMB has been an amazing defender this season, even beyond just for a rookie. Like, he's just been great in general. Was giving Wemby fits tonight. It's crazy. Like, the juice is there. The playmaking has been fantastic. A lot of guys, are turning the ball over, and against the Raptors at the beginning of the game, it's like, all right, this might be how it goes, because started turning the ball over a lot. They're getting out and running, and it's like, okay, Thunder just, this might not just be their night. And then they went ahead and they built up that huge lead, and then the Raptors came all the way back, and it's like, okay, that stuff is showing up again. And you just felt kind of that calming presence when Cason comes back in the game late. He again, like, knocks down a couple of shots, like gets the rim a couple of times, gets a steal, finds Isaiah Joe in transition for the three. Like, he did everything for this team in that game, and he's been doing it for multiple games now. He is showcasing the depth of this team, and it's one of the reasons why I feel like pretty clearly this is the best team in the NBA. Absolutely the deepest, is because you have a guy like Cason who, most nights isn't really doing that much, but when you need him to, he can go ahead and step up. And yeah, we didn't win this game, but the fact that it was even close in the first place, I think means a lot. And, I'm not like a moral victory guy, but I think it showcases, where the Thunder are compared to a lot of the teams in the NBA. Like, there are definitely teams that are capable of knocking off the Thunder on a night-to-night basis, but being the Thunder 4 times out of 7 is so difficult because of the depth, because there are so many guys liable to go off, and of course the steadying presence that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And again, like, yeah, the Spurs are only 2 games back, but as long as the Thunder get healthy, even if they lose the 1 seed, which I still don't think they will, I still do think the Thunder are going to grab the 1 seed, because I expect Shai and AJ to return here pretty soon. Like, who cares? If this team is fully healthy, nobody's beating this team in the playoffs. And I do think Cason taking that step forward, and like him as well as Isaiah Joe, which really sucks that he left this game early with injury. I'm hoping it was just a precautionary thing. I mean, pretty clearly they were willing to just punt this game when they sat everybody. They played guys yesterday. They're like, that one feels winnable. This one, we'll just see what happens, but we don't want to, go and sit guys against the Raptors and then go into Detroit still pretty undermanned severely and try and force a win there. We'd rather kind of just take what we feel like we're more confident we can go ahead and grab. And also, just a less physical matchup in Toronto. Not that they're not physical, but Detroit plays kind of like us. Like, they're very, very physical. You don't want to risk more injury. So I'm hoping that was the case. They were just like, hey, we're hanging around a little bit. Like, just sit Isaiah Joe, sit Brandon Carlson, see what happens. But Zay's been heating up in such a big way. His confidence has skyrocketed. And, one way that you fix the 3-point shooting for a team that's been inconsistent is you have one of the best shooters in basketball shoot more threes. Cason, he continues to develop that on-ball juice, and that's something we've talked about needing. It's like, if Dub's wrist isn't right, or even the hamstring, the wrist seemed pretty good in that game against Phoenix, and hopefully continues to get better and better here as he rehabs from the hamstring injury. But the wrist, if that's not 100%, then we need more guys. And obviously that's where like AJ comes in, but Cason obviously would also make a big time difference. One thing I think is pretty interesting is now in the season, Cason Wallace on 3-point shots, 0 dribbles, 36.4%, on 1 dribble, 43.8%. Now it's a much smaller volume, but it does feel like that rhythm dribble kind of gets him into a little bit of a space. Like, he seems to really be liking that little flyby and then dribble once, pound it into the ground and go ahead and shoot, or run around the screen, dribble it once and pull up and knock down the shot. Like, those are looks that it's kind of like what we saw with Shea for a couple of years, where he's taking these threes and there are games where he would go like 1 of 9 from 3 against a bad team. And it's like, what is he doing? Why is he shooting so many threes? And the answer is because he's building up those reps at game speed so that's shots he's more comfortable at taking. And that's the benefit of Isaiah Joe getting to shoot so much here, because when we get into the playoffs, last year wasn't his best playoff run that we could have asked for. But this year, I feel more confident that he's going to be ready because he's taking more difficult shots. He's taking higher volume amounts of shots. Like today, he pulled up at one point and he airballed it, but he pulled it from like the hash mark just off a catch and shoot. Was like, I'm just going to fire this thing up. And I feel like, he might not have shot that before this stretch. Cason, it feels like there were times where he's a little bit scared to attack downhill. He's been fearless. Like sometimes he's gotten blocked, sometimes he misses, but a lot of times he gets the finish to go. And this has been the best month of his season so far, shooting at the rim. Like he has had his most efficient rim scoring month of the season up until this point. And I think a lot of that is the confidence that is building. And this is stuff that is going to be really important going into the playoffs. Jared McCain is getting some opportunities too. I mean, in the first half, he really struggled, but second half, J-Mac was awesome. Like he was a microwave. The reason this was in striking distance to make it a 1-possession game within 5 minutes was because Jared McCain was knocking down 3 after 3 after 3. Like these guys build confidence. Even Jay will. Like he's a guy that is going to get minutes if we go into a Denver matchup specifically, because he has shown that he can be physical and body up on Jokic. Like the fact that he went out there and dropped a 30 piece and his 3-ball has been unbelievable as of late. Like it's been crazy. It feels like he doesn't miss from the outside. So just so many guys. Kenrich Williams, I mean, just continues to always be awesome. Like I'm never disappointed in Kenrich Williams' minutes. I feel like he always just produces. It's just been great, man. It's been awesome to see these guys stepping up, and I think it's going to pay a lot of dividends down the road, especially for Cason Wallace. And it's funny, I know you've been seeing it too, with all the people that are like, oh, teams have to try and pry Cason Wallace away from the Thunder, as if there's any chance he's not getting extended this summer.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of people saying like, you just got to throw a max at Cason in restricted free agency just to, see if the Thunder blink. And it's like, I think it was Joseph that tweeted out, like, bold of you to assume the Thunder would let him get to restricted free agency. Like, it's very, very clear to me that, like, we're extending Cason. And they talked about in the Hoop Collective how the Thunder are going to have decisions to make over the offseason, with Dort's team options and Hartenstein's team option, and then Cason eligible for the extension and stuff like that. And I'll just point out, like, if you feel like you have a championship roster, I think the ownership will be willing to pay for it. Like, we haven't paid for the tax in, I think, like, since 2019. Like, we haven't paid the tax at all. We won a championship without paying a tax. Like, we're on track to winning a championship again without paying a tax, like back-to-back rings without paying the tax. So if it comes down to you feel like you need those guys on your team, I think ownership would be willing to put, go into the tax to, to kind of get that, because, once again, like, we just went to the championship last year. That's like, I don't know, like 20 more games, 22 more games, like playoff games, like, ticket prices that you're getting in, merch, like all that stuff.
You
like,
make so much off a championship run.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you go back to back, like your first back to back since 2018, like since the Warriors, then yeah, like it's going to even, you're going to have even bigger revenue stream coming in too. So I feel like, if you feel like you have a championship roster, they're going to pay for it. But even if you're making a decision, I don't think Cason's factoring in the decision. I think Cason's probably going to get like a Dyson Daniels, Christian Brown contract, something like that. Like, do you think that's kind of in line of that?
I mean, yeah, Cason's not going anywhere. Like, there's no one that's like, he is clearly a priority on this team. I think it's much more likely that, as much as I love Lou, the Thunder would prioritize Cason Wallace over Lou Dort, almost 100%. Like, there's no way they're going to go for an older player who they would have less team control over, that has like lower upside than what Cason is capable of, because Cason is better on ball. He has been the better defender and better turnover generator so far this season. In that 3-point shot, Lou has been pretty up and down throughout his career, but in his recent career, he's been good. This season, it's down a little bit again, 35%, but 41% last year, 39% the year before. Cason hasn't quite hit his stride all that much, but I mean, this season, he's been a better 3-point shooter, and that's something that I still feel pretty confident is going to continue to develop over time. I feel pretty confident Cason Wallace is going to be like a Derek White type by the end of his career, where it's like this. I don't know how many All-Star games Cason Wallace makes, but he is like the ultimate winning player where every advanced stat, every eye test tells you that this dude just wins basketball games. I mean, there's a reason why he's got the highest winning percentage in NBA history. It's because he just wins basketball games. Like that's the thing that Cason does. So yeah, Cason's not going anywhere. There's no world where they would ever give him up. No world where they don't extend him. He's not going to get this max extension like I think some people are expecting. That's never happened. Like Presti always seems to get the best deals. I think it'd probably be around like 20 million if I had to guess for Queso, maybe like 22-ish million. It wouldn't surprise me if it's up to like, it wouldn't shock me if it's like 4 years, 100, like if it's 25 mil for Queso eventually. Like that wouldn't surprise me because I mean, that's like 7 mil more than you're paying Lou Dort right now. And if you end up letting him walk, then it's not that much of a difference in terms of the overall financial output of those contracts. So yeah, Cason's not going anywhere.
And that's what Dyson got, right? Was it the 4-year 20 million?
Yeah, I believe that was about his contract. I'll find the exact details real quick. Yeah, 4 years, $100 million. And I mean, Cason is a far better offensive player than Dyson Daniels and the same caliber of defender. So yeah, I think it's going to end up right around there. I'd be shocked if it got much higher than that. Just because, I mean, he is averaging about, 9 points per game right now. It's not like Cason is, in the midst of a 20 point per game season with all NBA defense. Like, not saying that Cason isn't worth that type of money because I think he's worth a ton, but I just don't think it's going to be one of those situations where like his representation holds the Thunder hostage over like a few $1 million. I think it'll be 4 years, 100 mil. Maybe it could be like, slightly higher than that, 4 years, like 27 annually, but I can't see it getting much higher than that.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think that's fair. And I think you're right on the money between, with the 3 decisions that you have to make. Like, I think Dort is the odd man. I think that the importance of Isaiah Hartenstein has been very evident, whenever he's in the lineup, whenever he's not. Yeah. A lot of people thought that, signing him, that it was more for like defense, but offensively, like, especially with Shai's not out there, offensively, like we need iHeart. Like there's no flow in the offense if there's no Isaiah Hartenstein out there. So I think that,
plus the Sorber injury, like that has complicated things a lot as well. So it's really tough to envision iHeart going anywhere. The more that we've played throughout this season, the more that I've watched this team, I just don't believe they're going to let iHeart walk. I'm going to be shocked if iHeart's not with the team next year. I think it's probably either pick up the option or re-up for a few more years on a decent bit of money as well. But I just don't see any world where he's being let go just straight up. Like there's just no shot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And before we go any further, I was supposed to do this closer to the top of the pod. That's on me. Sorry, guys. But, wanted to look at FanDuel right now because, the MVP race is kind of heating up. And I know you talked about it a little bit on Friday. And ESPN was just hammering the whole point home with Cade Cunningham and, his MVP candidacy and like this being an MVP moment. It's like, brother, like don't embarrass yourself using this as a footnote for Cade's MVP or for Cade's MVP candidacy. Like I think Cade's had an awesome season. I think he's an awesome player. I think he deserves to be in the MVP conversation. But I think that Shai and Jokic have to miss the games for Cade to win it, in my opinion. I think it's Shai's to lose, and then after that, I think it's Jokic just to lose, and then after that, like Cade, like go for it. Like his stats aren't as good as those guys. Of course, they have the record, but it's a different race. But yeah, right now Shai's still a favorite, -130. Jokic right behind him, +300. They're playing the Celtics right now. That was neck and neck last I checked, and Cade Cunningham is at +550. So he's gained a lot of ground. And Luka, who was number 3 for a long time, just plummeting, +4,000 right now. And feels like the conversation is the worst that it has been for Luka Doncic in like the casual viewers.
Yeah, I mean the hype around Luka is his PR is not in a good spot right now, and I think part of that is just the Lakers not being that great of a team so far this season. The turnover stuff. There's been a lot of ups and downs with the efficiency, of course, the official stuff that a lot of people don't really take to. Luka's not having a bad season by any means, but compared to some of the stuff that we typically see from Luka Doncic, it's just not been one of his most impressive years. And a year where Shai's putting up these numbers and, the Pistons are this shock team and Jokic is putting up his numbers. I mean, yeah, it's going to come down to games. If Shea plays enough games, Shea is going to win. No one's going to beat Shea if he plays enough games. And, he continues to play up to the level that we know Shea's going to play up to. Like, Shea's going to win MVP. I feel very confident in that because I just don't expect him to miss many more games here. I firmly believe he's coming back next game against the Denver Nuggets.
I agree. At
home against them, like, didn't make the road trip. I think pretty clear. Just stay back in OKC, rehab a little bit, and then be good to go for this one. But if Shea for some reason didn't play enough games, then I think it would be Jokic. If he for some reason didn't play enough games, then I would see it going to Cade Cunningham potentially. But yeah, there's just a gap in efficiency and production and overall like impact. Not that Cade is not an impactful player. Like, Cade is hyper impactful. He's really, really good, but it's just levels to it, unfortunately, at this point in his career. But Cade is kind of in his moment where he's still taking those, next steps. Like, he's almost there. I think he's going to finish 3rd or 4th in the MVP race. And going into next season, like, maybe that's the year that he finally goes ahead and gets the job done. He's just got to cut out some of the turnovers, and the efficiency's got to level up a little bit before he, is able to compete, which is just unfortunate because, he's just going up against 2 of the best to ever do it. And Jokic and Shea is honestly the main reason why. Like, it's not like he's having a bad season by any means.
No, absolutely not. And like, to your point about, just shoring things up, like even tonight, as good as he was against a diminished roster as he did, still at 8 turnovers, which is just way too many turnovers to have in that type of game. Yeah. In that type of performance. So, but yeah, shout out Cade. Like he's been playing good. He's had a great year this year. But yeah, Shea's to lose -130. I think that that's your best money if you want to make that bet on FanDuel. Something I wanted to point out to you though, Cone, they have a Jason Tatum tab on FanDuel right now, and this is it's just guessing the method of first basket for the 2025 regular season for Jason Tatum. I don't know if you saw before the game, they were talking to Shams, and Shams said that Jason Tatum has been cleared and has been participating in 5-on-5s for a little bit now. And they said it's ultimately up to him about when he feels comfortable going out there. So it looks like Jason Tatum is going to return this season. Cone, do you have any idea what game you think Tatum might be making his way back?
I think I've got an idea. I think he's right around the corner. If I had to guess, I think it's March 1st. Okay. That's the game. That one was moved to NBC, just kind of out of nowhere. It was like we were playing it. It was Thunder versus Mavericks, and obviously, the Mavericks haven't been very great. But Shea versus Cooper Flag potentially still on the radar. We'll see if Cooper Flag plays, but I don't like that. Felt kind of like a matchup that they would just go for, but instead they take it off for Jason Tatum and the Celtics, or potentially Jason Tatum and the Celtics playing in that one. So it feels like a possibility. Otherwise, another game I could see it because then they go on kind of a tougher stretch where they play the Bucks, who are playing pretty well right now, and that's on the road. They do play at home against the Hornets, so like maybe that one, but the Hornets have been playing pretty well. Then there is the Mavericks at home. Like there are some games in here, but they also play the Cavs, the Spurs, us. I think they're going to kind of ease them back into a game. March 14th against the Wizards is also not a bad possibility. That's a really bad team, a very easy team to ease them back into. Again, it's not a nationally televised game, and it feels like that they would probably nationally televise a game like that. Like that just is my conspiracy theory that it's going to be that game because they went ahead and flexed that one. But yeah, I think it ends up being either March 1st or they wait a couple of weeks still, and it's March 14th against the Wizards. Those are my 2 guesses.
Yeah, that would make me sad because then it would mean we miss out on seeing Jason Tatum play whenever they come to the Thunder, visit the Thunder on the 12th. But it's all good. Right now the odds are plus 190 for 3-point field goal, plus 380 for layup, plus 470 for free throw, plus 1600 for dunk, and plus 190 for other. So, Cone, if you were a betting man, which you are a betting man, but if you were going to make a bet on this, which one would you pick?
What would I go with? I think it's. I'm like visualizing in my head. We're in TD Garden. Tatum gets the ball. I think free throw or layup is my call. I could see a world where it's a mid-range jumper. Tatum really likes those types of shots, but I see him like getting at the elbow, like backing down and just blowing by for a layup or getting fouled in the process. That is the vision that I have. Left elbow, getting past somebody. Say like a Kelly Oubre for the Sixers on that March 1st game. He gets fouled. It's an and one, and then he gets the layup in the free throw. Let's go with that. That's my prediction.
There you go. So shall it be written, so shall it be done. Cohen has put it out there. But yeah, I mean, that's great value though. I mean, it's not the lowest odds and it's not the highest odds, plus 380, plus 470. You can make something happen with that. We'll revisit FanDuel before the end of the podcast. But yeah, if you want to make a bet on Jason Tatum's first method of basket, or like we said, the MVP award, you can do that on FanDuel. With that being said, let's get back into the action the past few games. We waxed poetic about Cason for most of the time. You touched a little bit on Jalen Williams and Jared McCain's performance. I want to talk about Isaiah Joe before we go any further, because I mean, man, he's been just an absolute revelation. Whenever the trade deadline happened and we brought Jared McCain into the fold, everybody was so excited for what Jared McCain was going to bring to this lineup in terms of his shooting, his floor spacing, and potentially giving him volume 3-point shooting. And the spacing's been there, the shooting's been there. Hasn't necessarily had volume because somebody took that as a challenge. Isaiah Joe, since Jared McCain was traded onto this team, has been going absolutely ballistic. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he had 22 points, hit 6 of 11 3-pointers, and also had 5 steals, stepping up a huge way.
All those in the first quarter, by the way. He had a 5-steal quarter, which was nuts.
In a quarter that we led, but I think we was like up 28-5 at one point in the first quarter.
I think it was 30-8 as well at one point.
Just absolutely nuts. And then followed it up against the Raptors, all in the second half, mostly in the third quarter, 22 points, 6 of 11 shooting. And then, into tonight, he only finished with 3 points, only played the first half. But hey, if the Raptors game was any indication, he was about to rip off another 20 game, hit another 5 threes there afterwards. So, yeah, man, Isaiah Joe has been just shooting the absolute lights out. And it's funny, all the memes, all the all the screenshots of Data Baller of Isaiah Joe and Jared McCain on the floor together, what it did for the Thunder. After those first couple 2-3 games, we haven't really seen them on the floor that much anymore. It feels like they're not staggering their minutes intentionally, but it doesn't feel like they're on the floor as much together. But it hasn't mattered. They've both been able to provide the service that they need, spacing the floor and knocking down shots, and generating offense when we have nobody else to generate offense, seemingly. But obviously, it's great at face value to see what they're doing, but it just makes me that much more excited to see these guys on the floor with, an elite creator. And it doesn't even have to be Shea. I just want to see them on the floor with AJ Mitchell. I want to see what they can do with AJ Mitchell on the floor, because right now, Cason Wallace has stepped up in a huge way. Absolutely. And Topic, working his way back from injury, but in terms of elite shot creators, gravity drawers, we haven't had anybody out there, even the caliber of AJ Mitchell. So I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, man. I mean, so the month of February, obviously everybody knows the 3-point shooting was down for a little bit. In the month of January, for example, the Thunder were the 22nd 3-point shooting team, 33.8%. It got pretty rough there. In December, we were sitting at the 10th best, 37.4%. So really it was that month of January where we really could not shoot the basketball. February, we have the second best 3-point percentage, 39.6% from 3. Over the month of February, only behind the Milwaukee Bucks at 39.8, but better than the Hornets, who of course have been shooting lights out. Everybody knows that with their trio over there. This team has been unable to miss. And again, I think a lot of it is Isaiah Joe. When you talk about, it's hard for one shooter to make a full difference, but they definitely can. And the best way to have better 3-point shooting is for your better shooters to take those shots. And Isaiah Joe upping his 3-point volume and being willing to take some of those more contested looks, those, fading away looks, those ones where, he might have to relocate a little bit, someone flies by him and he has to dribble and then maybe step back, movement shots. He has been willing to take literally anything and everything over this stretch with guys being injured and out. And again, I think that's going to pay a lot of dividends in the playoffs. It's going to be fantastic off of Shea. And you saw tonight, the Pistons were we are going to literally lose this game if Isaiah Joe gets one wide open 3. They were fighting for their lives over every screen, every opportunity, go ahead and guard Isaiah Joe. They refused to let him get open, and they did a pretty good job of
They
denying
had
him the
Star
ball.
Thompson face guarding him, dude.
Yes, Asar Thompson, who is one of the 5 best perimeter defenders in the sport of basketball, was face guarding Isaiah Joe because they were that terrified of him. Like, that is the gravity that he brings to the table. And that's part of why the minutes with him and McCain have been so good, is because both those guys are like real legitimate volume 3-point threats that teams are scared of, especially Isaiah Joe. He's been the best spot up shooter in basketball this season when it comes to just points per spot up. It's been him. He's led the league in that so far this season. He is one of the single most deadly shooters that is out there. And so, of course, he's been able to compete on defense. Like, that's always been something that's been the case with Isaiah Joe. He's not one of our elite defenders, but he holds up enough. And especially with him being this aggressive and knocking down shots like this, he should play so much in the playoffs. Like, the offense last year really struggled at times to kind of get going and be cohesive. And we saw that in December. And I think one of the biggest things that this stretch of injuries is going to unlock for this team is Isaiah Joe has so much confidence right now, as he should, to put up shots. I want him taking like 8 threes a game at least in the playoffs. I'd be happy if he put up 10 a game. Like, when Isaiah Joe is out there, I want him to be aggressive, because if teams fear him, then it creates so much space for Shea, for Chet, for Dub. It just opens up the game a ridiculous amount. Like, I think part of the reason why Cason has been able to get downhill the way that he has sometimes is because teams are really worried about an Isaiah Joe, for example. He is a legitimate, like, a terrifying threat for any opposing defense. And last year, we had games like Game 4 of the finals where we hit 4 threes in total. I think Isaiah Joe is capable of hitting that in a game on his own on a nightly basis in the playoffs. So, to me, as much of a game changer as Cason is, and I think will continue to be, especially if he keeps playing at this level, I think Isaiah Joe could be even a bit of a bigger one, because that is one of our biggest flaws, is the 3-point shooting. And if Isaiah Joe is a sniper that, he's not going to single-handedly save our 3-point shooting, other guys do need to step up, but he can definitely turn it around a lot and make this offense way more potent. It's crazy with all the injuries that we've dealt with that we have shot this well from 3 so far in this stretch.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's really been eye-opening to see what this team has been able to do, without Shea, Jalen Williams, and AJ Mitchell, because Chet is an all-star, and he's a deserved all-star, absolutely. But he's not a guy that has really shown the ability to scale up offensively without another elite offensive creator. That's just not in his game right now. That's not in his package. I will say, and, I want to talk about, what Chet did specifically against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, I thought he was phenomenal against the likes of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. People want to say Chet's too skinny. He gets bullied on the glass. Cool. He went out there and put up 17 and 15 against like one of the best front court duos in the NBA. Just absolutely outworking, out physical, on top of getting I think he had like 3 or 4 blocks as well. He had 3 blocks. Yeah. 17, 15, 3 blocks. Hey, I nailed that. I thought that Chet was masterful against the Cavaliers. And of course, his stats didn't really show up against the Raptors, but I thought he played, again, really well defensively. I think
the defense was awesome.
Yeah, I think Focus actually put out the tweet saying that, Chet's done a phenomenal job of improving on the margins in terms of like defense, rebounding, effort, hustle, all these things. It's just he's, yet to put it all together offensively in terms of like the self-creation and stuff, especially, whenever defenses are like kind of keying in on him with no Shea, with no Jalen Williams, no AJ Mitchell. Of course, like in the past, like Jalen Williams, the only guy out, him and Shea can absolutely cook. Like that's a game that Chet can go out there and get like 27 points, 8 rebounds, something like that. But when he has to do it by himself, struggles a little bit, but still very impressive what he has been able to do. Again, the numbers aren't super loud, but the impact is absolutely loud.
Yeah, and that's, I've seen a lot of people complain like, oh, like why is Chet not scoring that much? We're paying him all this money. We're paying him to be like a top 2 to 3 defender in all basketball. Like that's the main reason he's getting the money. And also he's averaging like 17 points per game on the season. And Chet is one of those players that he's not like a take over the game with everybody out kind of guy. He is you put him next to Shea, you put him next to AJ, you put him next to Dub, and then he's like an elite play finisher, and he's like a putback rebound guy, and he does all the dirty work, like all the stuff that shows up in the margins. If we had Chet tonight, we win that basketball game 100%. Even if Chet put up, only a few points, the defensive impact he would have made, the rebounding impact that he would have made, it's stuff that I don't think people really realize all the stuff that Chet does that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. Like, yeah, it'd be cool if he scored 20 points per game while these guys are injured. But at the same time, that's not his responsibility. And that's also not the way this system is set up. We're not set up for the big to go out there and score all that much. J. Will was able to do it tonight because we literally lost everybody and we needed him. We're like, please do something for us.
We thought we almost lost him too.
Yeah, there was a moment where it's like, oh my gosh, imagine if J. Will went out and we had to play like Kenrich the whole game at the backup five with Carlson also going down. That was almost the spot we were in, but that's just not really what Chet's responsibility is on this team. This team is a very clear system set up in place. Even when guys get injured, we run things very, very similarly. J. Will takes on the iHeart role if iHeart is out. And, Queso or Isaiah Joe has taken on the Shea AJ role recently with those guys being injured. We ask guys to do different things depending on who is out that's typically doing what they're supposed to be doing. And Chet's just not the guy who's being asked to bring the ball up the court a million times, attack guys off the dribble. And he does have some of those really good games, but against the Cavaliers, it's like, hey man, just play elite defense and go out there and rebound the hell out of the ball against one of the best front courts in basketball. And he did exactly that. And that's a big reason why we won and held up despite having that big lead and the Cavs making the run. Chet was a big part of that. Getting huge rebounds on both ends and, closing out possessions, blocking shots to turn guys away from the rim. It's stuff that doesn't show up, especially the rim deterrence. That's something that just a lot of fans are never going to really account. I wish there was a stat, some type of way, rim deterrence. I wish deflections were more accessible, things like that, things that typically don't show up in the stat sheet, but are, very easily a high impact winning play. So yeah, I feel like Chet's been perfectly fine over this stretch. Glad he got some rest tonight, and just hopeful that kind of the gang is all back for the game on Sunday going up against the Denver Nuggets at this point, who are in, a tough game right now with the Boston Celtics, who, yeah, again, we could be seeing get back Jason Tatum here shortly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I got the notification on my phone. I'm sure you probably have the game up somewhere because, you're able to multitask like that. But it said Jamal Murray was ruled out the rest of the game.
Illness, yeah. He was
illness,
questionable
gotcha.
coming into the game with illness, and he played 8 minutes in the first half, didn't shoot very well, didn't play great, and he got ruled out. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he got hurt. I was like, did it look bad? What happened? So, all right. Well, that's cool. Hopefully he's. Hopefully, I'll say hopefully he's healthy for OKC. I want to see both teams at their best, and kind of bleeding into this, I think it was a strategic move that we sat all of our guys against the Pistons. You talk about Shea, you talk about AJ, Jalen Williams, they just didn't travel with the team. They were already on the injury report, whatever. But we made the active decision to sit Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso as well. And, we ruled out Isaiah Joe, halfway through the game. And, like you said, that could have just been preventative. We've already kind of punted this game away anyways. But I feel like it was strategic because, yeah, as fun as the number one seed in the West versus number one seed in the East is, and how much ESPN wanted to market it and the NBA wanted to market it, it is infinitely more important to get healthy looks against the Denver Nuggets, a team that we are much more likely to see in the playoffs than we are to see the Detroit Pistons because, just because, how that's all shaped up. And yeah, we've done well against them in the regular season. We beat them in the playoffs last year, but we haven't seen them fully healthy. They haven't seen us fully healthy. There's still a lot of things to work out there. There's still a lot of kinks to work out. How does Cason Wallace kind of factor into the Nuggets game? Obviously, he shot lights out last time we played, but now that he's kind of blossoming off or on ball, what does it look like with him out there, with Shea, and, Shea's able to play off ball with him a little bit. There's so many other things that's more important for that Nuggets game. And also, just simply put, it's home, man. It's so much easier to come back in a home game than it is an away game, especially an away game with so much pressure as going up against the number one team in the East with the Detroit Pistons. And, as you alluded to, a team that is as physical as you, that's not a game you want to come back from injury on. That's not a game that you want to, go in tired or, hampered with injury, as is. And I think that, we sat, I think Caruso sat like pretty much every back-to-back here recently. Same with Isaiah Hartenstein. He's still working his way back from a minute restriction. I think Chet's been playing back-to-backs, but he's had that back spasm things for I don't know how long. Honestly, I was kind of surprised to see Wiggs out there because, he's been playing, but like if you watch, people see the struggles and whatnot, but they'll acknowledge that, but they won't acknowledge the amount of KT tape that he has on his right shoulder, on his shooting shoulder. So I just like, man, injuries all over the place for the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we're just kind of running out of bodies at this point, but I do believe this is going to be kind of the start of a stretch where we get a lot of guys back out there. I mean, yeah, like Chet's banged up a little bit, but I think ultimately he's fine. It's just, no back-to-backs right now, which is great because don't want to see him get re-injured at all. We definitely need him. If Shea and AJ come back, I think there's a world where next game we'll see with Isaiah Joe. We'll see with Brandon Carlson, but there's a world where next game is one of the healthiest we've had all season, which is J-Dub out. And, I'd much rather get that. Some people are like, oh, but we have to make sure we grab the best record in the NBA so we get home court against the Pistons. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the Pistons make the NBA Finals. I love this Pistons team. I think they're certainly capable of doing that, but they're really flawed right now because they don't really have a reliable second guy. Duran is very capable of it, but I don't know how that's going to look on a playoff series basis. Cade's really good, but he's also turnover prone. The efficiency is still not quite there yet. And also, JB Bickerstaff just hates Asar Thompson for some reason and plays Karis LeVert. That's an automatic L. They didn't really add shooting, which is concerning. Like, this Pistons team is really good. Like, they are capable of winning the East, but I think there are a couple teams, like the Celtics get Tatum back. I'm taking the Celtics over the Pistons. Years, to be honest. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, will see how James Harden's thumb is. Of course, that's something that pops up for them now. They just can't catch a break. But I think if they're fully healthy, I'd probably take them over the Cavs in this series as well. I think there's a world where I take the Knicks too. It really just depends on, how these teams look going into the playoffs. But I'm not like, it is so, even though they were the 1 seed, it is unlikely that you're going to play any singular team in the NBA Finals coming out the other side. Because last year we would have said it's probably the Celtics, and then it's probably the Cavaliers. Like the Pacers were maybe like your 4th or 5th pick to be a team that the Thunder were going to end up facing. Like, that ultimately doesn't really matter at all. And some people are like, oh, but we need to figure out how we look against them. We got to verify the home record. Like, I mean, also, you just don't show them anything if you don't play guys in this game. Like, they don't get to see anything from us. And I mean, I just think we're a lot more talented. We're a lot deeper. We're a lot better at the top. Like, I think we're just very clearly a better team than the Pistons at this point. Like, if we play them in the finals, I'm honestly not too worried about this team struggling in any significant way. So I don't really I don't care about getting the best record in the NBA or anything like that. I don't really care about getting the 1 seed. Get healthy, get everybody back, continue to rest guys. Like, this could have been a game against the Washington Wizards or the Pistons. I don't really care. On the second half of a back-to-back, I'm so down to just rest everybody. We did it against the Spurs. And I mean, we kept it really close against the Spurs too. Like, that also happened. And, the last
on national
the last time we played them, somewhat healthy, we kind of mopped the floor with them. And of course, they mopped the floor with the Thunder a few times this season as well. But there was some stuff that I really liked in that game, and you don't give the Spurs the chance to go ahead and make adjustments. Like, there is a little bit of gamesmanship, I think, to it. And ultimately, the priority is just getting healthy and staying that way. It is way more likely to play the Denver Nuggets in a series. I am going to be surprised if we don't play the Denver Nuggets, to be quite honest. Whether we get the 1 seed in there, the 2 or the 3, I think a series between them and the Spurs would be really, really close. I could see it going either way. Or, I mean, right now with the way they've been playing, they might end up as like the 4 or the 5 seed. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And we got to face them round 2 again. So, yeah, I'd much rather kind of see how we stack up against this team right now, going forward against a Western Conference team that we have a very real shot to play in the playoffs. That was one of our toughest opponents. I mean, our second toughest opponent last year.
Yeah, and I'll go as far to say that even if we did face Detroit in the finals, like, it's not locked up that just because we lost this game against the Detroit Pistons that the Pistons are going to lock up the best overall record. Like, we're assuming we get most of our guys back on Friday. Like let's go. Like, that you're saying that we're basically getting the team that was 24-1 to start the season plus Jared McCain back for the rest of the season. Like, sign me up. Like, I'll take our chances against anybody else in the league. And by the way, we play the Pistons again, before the end of the season. Our last game in March, I think we have 7 games after that. So, who knows, who's going to be playing. It's also on the second night of a back-to-back right after the Knicks. So who knows, who's going to be playing, who's going to be resting, whatever. But if you really want to lock up the number one overall seed and the Pistons are still there and you're within striking distance, that's a game that you can make up some ground on. So, I'm not too worried about it as well. And, I'm
not all
eyes on Denver on Friday. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be shocked if Shea's not back. I feel pretty decent about AJ coming back. Because it's been a minute for AJ, man. We haven't seen AJ in a while. Dub obviously won't be back for that game, but hopefully before the next Nuggets game, J-Dub is back because that's right around the 2-week mark. But yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be good to see Shea Hoops back, man. Like that'll be great. Go out there, get a nice, convincing, hopefully comfortable win over the Denver Nuggets, getting some guys back, and then kind of start to build momentum going into the playoffs. And I mean, really, Shea comes back against the Nuggets, puts on another like MVP style performance, and we beat them. Like I think that probably closes the book on the MVP race, assuming he plays enough games. Like the last hope, I think, for Shea not winning MVP, if for Nuggets fans or Cade fans or whoever, is that Shea like goes out there and like stinks against the Nuggets for some reason. We get blown out. Like that's the last hope, is that like some narrative could start to build, but I just don't think it's realistic. I mean, you saw that the ESPN poll, like Shea ran away with the MVP at that point. And I do still think we're going to finish as the 1 seed with the best record in the NBA because, the schedule gets, continues to be tough down the stretch. Like we do still have the Nuggets a couple of times. I think 3 times. Yeah, we still have them 3 more times. Got the Pistons 1 more time. But we do have the Celtics. Jason Tatum might be back. The Timberwolves. Like, there are some good teams in here, but then there's also like we have the Mavericks, we have the Bulls, the Warriors, who might not have Steph Curry. We'll see. He's been very, wishy-washy. We play the Brooklyn Nets. We got the Chicago Bulls again. We play the Jazz, who, I don't know if you saw, the NBA is actually sending like their own doctors to verify Lauri Markkanen's MRI tomorrow that he's getting, which is hilarious.
That's awesome.
The Clippers, we'll see where they're at that point. We do play the Lakers a couple times and the Suns to end the season. We'll see if Dylan Brooks is back at that point with a broken hand. It's a somewhat tough schedule, but it's very doable when you're the best team in the league. So we're going to be good. But yeah, I mean, just as the season has gone on, I feel more and more confident that we're still the best team in the league. We're the deepest team. We're the best at the top. We've got the best player in the world. As long as this team is healthy, they're going to go back to back. And, it's not guaranteed. I mean, we've definitely not been healthy this season, but fingers crossed that fixes itself before the playoffs. And if it does, you're good. If not, then sometimes you just kind of, get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about a few other things here on the other side of our break. And we're back after the other side of our break. Cone, you mentioned AJ Mitchell before, we went on that break there. I was looking because, as I famously and boastfully, might I add, whenever he was healthy, had a value pick for AJ Mitchell 6th man of the year. I think it was like plus 1,500 on FanDuel at the time. So I felt very good about that until he got injured. And I think that tonight was his 16th straight missed game. So assuming he comes back for the Nuggets, all will be well if he plays the rest of the season. But if he misses one more game, then the ticket's kind of cooked. Right now, FanDuel still has him number 6 on the 6th man of the year, and that he's obviously dropped just because he hasn't played. But if he comes back and he makes the impact off the bench like he was when he was healthy, stranger things have happened. We'll see what happens. But I did want to pick your brain because I made a future parlay on FanDuel. I wanted to see what you thought about this since you are our NBA connoisseur account. So this is a 7-leg parlay, and this is just teams to make the Western Conference semifinals. So basically just to advance past round 1. Western Conference and Eastern, sorry. I
was going to say, you got 7 teams making the Western Conference semis, brother. It's over.
That'd be amazing.
The play is over already, man. What are you doing?
It's like, dang, FanDuel cooked me on that. All right, no. So in the West, I have the Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, Wolves. Do you have any objections?
No, that's not bad. Obviously, it's going to come down to matchups. Like right now, it would be Nuggets versus Wolves in the first round, which obviously makes things difficult.
That would be hard.
Yeah, it would be hard for them to both make it out of there. But I mean, I think the Wolves and the Rockets is kind of where I'm wishy-washy there. Because the Rockets are they're good, but obviously they're so injured. The offense is really shaky. The Wolves have one of the highest ceilings out of any team in the playoffs. The floor is just so low for them on a nightly basis. Like any night, the Wolves could be like, oh, this is a lottery team. And then other nights, it's like, why can't this team win a championship? So, yeah, they're in a little bit of a weird spot. But I mean, I would say I think those are the teams that feel like the four best when it comes to the playoffs in the Western Conference. Like those are the teams I feel like are going to have the best playoff ability when we get there. So I don't think it's a bad play at all.
All right. And then I have 3 East teams because
Okay.
I don't know. The East is weird to me, but I feel pretty confident about these guys. The aforementioned Detroit Pistons, feel like they're the best team in the East right now. As we said, a couple of changes have happened, so that might be shifting. And one of those changes being the James Harden acquisition to the Cavaliers. We've seen firsthand, how scary that makes them. We was able to overcome that, but before that, I think they have won 7 straight games. And the other team is the Boston Celtics. And honestly, that's with or without Jason Tatum. I think the Celtics are a good enough team that they can advance to the next round either way. So those are my 3 East teams.
I like those a lot. I'd be shocked if one of those 4 teams doesn't make it. Those 3 teams will all be top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference. I think the standings are going to hold pretty close to the way they are now. I think it's going to be Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavs in some order. I could see Knicks, Cavs switching, but I think it's going to be Pistons, Celtics, probably the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. Joe Mazzulla, by the way, is my coach of the year. What he's done this year has been absolutely insane. And then it'll be some combination of Raptors, Sixers, Magic at like that 5, 6, 7. I mean, Demon Hornets, maybe knocking off the Pistons, the Demon Hornets, we'll see. But I feel pretty good about that. I think all those teams will make it. And then it gets really interesting because if that's the way it sets up, it's Pistons, Cavs, round 2, and then Celtics, probably Knicks. Right now it would be Knicks, Sixers, which I think would be a really fun series to see how that unfolds, depending on the health of Joel Embiid and Philly in general. But that would be a fun one, man. So yeah, I feel pretty good. The West is just so hard to predict who's going to be where in the standings.
That's
but
fair.
In terms of the teams, I mean, I think you picked 7 of the teams I feel the most confident in going into, if I had to predict, just based off no matchups or anything, just what are the best 8 teams? Those would be 7 of them. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's why I left the Knicks off, just because I felt like the Sixers are a sneaky team. As I said, as we both said at the beginning of the season, it felt like a healthy Sixers team could actually make some noise. And, when they're healthy, they have made a lot of noise. I'm disappointed. I was looking at the NBA awards on FanDuel. You can't actually bet on Coach of the Year. So I was going to, suggest that, our listeners follow along with you and bet Joe Mazzulla for Coach of the Year, but cannot do that. If you have a market that can do that, more power to you. But we suggest using FanDuel for all your other sporting or betting needs. And if you guys want to make a parlay, like the one I made, but you want to make fewer suggestions, or you want to make fewer selections, you want to make more selections, or you want to
do 9 teams
them all together. Try not get crazy.
Yeah, put 9 teams in the second round. Who knows? NBA might get crazy with it. You never know.
I wonder if FanDuel would actually let you do that. Hold on. I have to see. What is the integrity of FanDuel?
There's no way they let you put 9. That would be hilarious. It's like, I was able to bet all 30 teams to make the second round. Some of them's got to make it, right?
All right, let's see here. Eastern Conference semifinals. I'm going to hit show more. All right, basically, I just have to put 5 teams and see if it lets me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Moment of truth. Oh, okay, yeah. They have integrity.
They're like, oh, dude, let's come down a little bit. It reminds me almost of when Derek from Numbers on the Board, he was telling a story on their podcast one time, John, my guy D Mills, and he was talking about how he thought he had a play on FanDuel. He's like, oh, I bet first basket, I won $3,000. It's crazy. But he was confused the next day when he wasn't getting paid out. He's like, I got to talk to FanDuel, this and that. And so he sends it to a group chat. It's like, what happened? And it turns out he thought that the bet was first basket, only that player. So he bet Jason Tatum first basket 3, and he thought it meant just Jason Tatum's first basket had to be a 3, not the first basket of the game. And so that happened, and then a couple other things happened. He had a 3-leg first basket play. I was like, oh, I just won $3,000 or something like that. He's like, what happened to my money? And apparently he had been doing that for a lot of the season, and just none of them were hitting. And he was just it was the most absurd odds you've ever seen. So
That's amazing.
If anyone needs to know how first basket plays work, it is not. You can bet the player's first basket themselves, but he was not doing that. So it's unfortunate.
I had a similar thing whenever FanDuel first came to Kentucky. They had like a million promos, and I was looking at the anytime touchdown things because the NFL was going on. I think it was like Packers Lions, and I was looking at all the anytime touchdowns, and it was like Jared Goff plus 2,000. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they're the best offense in the league. Of course he's going to throw touchdowns. This is free money. And then I realized, like, oh, it has to be a rushing touchdown. So it's probably cooked. Ironically enough, he had a quarterback sneak at the goal line, and he got stopped. I got really happy for a second.
That's so tough.
Yeah, no, that would have been.
It happens to the best of us, man. It happens to the best of us.
All right, man. To end the podcast, we're gonna do something we haven't done in a while. Sticking with FanDuel and also sticking with Thunder. Looking ahead to the Nuggets game, assuming everybody's back. Like, let's just put on our most optimistic hat. Assuming everybody's back except Jalen Williams. Let's build a 6-leg parlay, 3 picks each here.
Okay.
I'll let you have the first one.
Shea 30.
I knew that was coming. Like, that's you just roll out of bed and get that, Shea.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. A little bit more difficult, but this guy traditionally shreds the Nuggets. Give me Chet Holmgren. I'm gonna go 15, which doesn't seem like crazy, but based on how he's been playing, you might be close to positive odds. I'd say it's probably like minus 150.
Yeah, I like 15 for Chet. I would probably go in a similar vein, Chet 8+ boards.
Yeah, that's been money recently. Even in the Raptors when he struggled, I think he had 9 rebounds. So, all right. Next up, it's a little bit difficult here because we've had so many guys step up, and with our main guys returning, like, what's going to happen? I'm just going to, kick the ball rolling. AJ Mitchell coming back. I'm going to give him a 10 piece.
Love to see it. I guess if we're being optimistic that Isaiah Joe's playing, I don't know what the odds are on him hitting a couple of threes, but I don't know what they're gonna have his line at. Probably 2.5 threes.
Yeah, I looked today. 3 threes was like minus 150, I think.
Give me 3 threes.
Okay, I like it.
Did you know Wikipedia has Joe's nickname as Stroking Joe?
Oh, that's amazing. The question is, do they have Jared McCain's nickname as Lightning McCain?
They don't. Do you know what Isaiah Joe's actual first name is? Oh, hold on. What happened now?
I do not.
What happened?
Oh no, I was just laughing because I said, do they have this nickname as Lightning McCain? Just because they do not, and you moved on so fast.
I thought when you looked it up, they might have had it. The way you laughed, I was like, do they act like? Is that
it? Would
actually?
Have been, I would have been great. Thrilled.
But Isaiah Joe's real first name is Derek. Derek Isaiah Joe.
There you go. Hey, shout out Derek. We love Derek's. Shout out the show Shrinking, which, by the way, came out tonight. Haven't got to watch it yet.
Stroking Derek.
Stroking Derek.
So you did AJ 10. I did Zay 3 threes. So it's up to you for the last one.
Yeah, of course, it's 2 games away, so the spread is not there.
Yeah,
but I'm
under win.
Yeah, no, I think money line's too easy. I'm taking the Thunder to cover the spread. I don't know what it would be. I wonder what it was against the Celtics tonight. Like right now, the Nuggets are up. They're up 10 now, and the spread is minus 8.5 in favor of the Nuggets. So I don't know. What do you think? Like minus 4.5, probably the spread. For
I was gonna say 4.5, 5.5. It depends if Shea is playing. I think it'll probably be like a 5.5.
Okay, hey, I'll take it. Minus 5.5. Give me the Thunder on that. So we got Shea 30, Chet 15 and 8, AJ 10, Isaiah Joe 3 threes, and Thunder to cover the spread. I don't know what that's gonna be, but I'd say that's like plus 2,000 odds easy.
Yeah, I guess it depends what numbers they got. Guys that coming off injury, but could be
even higher.
Yeah, the Thunder win by 58 plus. If they got it.
Take it. Hey, and just a reminder, if the Thunder do go down by double digits at any point on Friday, if our guys are healthy, go ahead and bet that live spread. Go ahead and bet that live Thunder money line. We're coming back. Free money. It's the cheat code. And do it all on FanDuel. So with that being said, Cone, prediction for Friday.
Oh, for Friday? Oh, Shea's back, AJ's back, Thunder win. Duh.
All right. Do you have a number? Do you have a number of the winning margin?
12.
12. I love it.
I think it's like they like fight back. You know, we have like a lead. They fight back a little bit, and then we kind of pull away a bit at the end, and it's like maybe an 8-ish point game, and then hit a couple of shots at the end there, and it just ends up being a 12-ish point game. Let's go with that. The last like minute or two, we see what would have formerly been Usman Jang minutes. Shout out our Prince playing for the Bucks.
Shout out Usman Jang, absolutely killing it for the Bucks. I don't know if he's been playing here recently, but killed us.
I mean he's been playing. He's been playing pretty well. Not as many minutes as he played against us. By far, the most minutes he played in a game was then. But yeah, he's been pretty good so far, man. 9.1 points, 4 boards, 1.4 dimes, shooting 47% from the field, 46% from three. Been pretty solid. We'll see if what it looks like when the 3-point shooting ticks down a little bit. Like that is obviously the big thing with him, is if he can maintain that solid 3-point shooting. But you're pretty good so far, man. My fault. Yeah, he's gonna get up to 60. My fault.
I remember, what was it, the first game that he played, and he made like 2 or 3 threes, and every time he made a three, Giannis just got up and stared at Thanasis. Like Giannis is excited to play with Usman Jang. So
yeah, man.
It's I'm taking, so the Thunder won by 10 the last time they played the Nuggets. All of our guys back. Cone says Thunder by 12. Going Thunder by 15.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
We're juicing it up.
There we go.
Let's just say Jared McCain hits another 3. They're not ready for Jared McCain over there.
They're not prepped. They're not prepped.
With that being said, do appreciate everybody tapping in. Obviously, I do apologize for our break that we had during All-Star break, and also, leaving Cone solo on Friday. We will be back to our regularly scheduled podcast starting on Friday once again, talking about the Nuggets game, post game, and you guys are going to want to tap in. If you're watching this live, you're watching this retroactively. Also going to tweet out an announcement at some point in the next couple of days. We have our fan event coming up 2 weeks from, well, I guess technically today. It's now 12:01 a.m. on the East Coast. So 2 weeks from today, we will be traveling to OKC for our first game. This isn't part of the Thunder fan event. This is just something that we do all together against the Boston Celtics. And then the fan event will be the Wolves on Sunday. But we had some extra tickets for both games. So we will be doing a giveaway of sorts on Friday. So you do not want to miss out on that. The details will be revealed on Friday, and then we will do the giveaway over the weekend. So tap in for that. Get a chance to win tickets to either awesome game or awesome experience, or both. So with that being said, hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hooping you can. And as always, Thunder up.
Thunder up.
I don't know why I got so close.